Hey YouTube, Common Collector here, and today I am finally bringing you guys my Power Tool Dragon deck profile. I have been waiting to do this for a really long time, and I had been sort of waiting to find out what was going to be the fate of like Halka Fibrax, as well as like the Mecha Fandom Beast, Auroradon and whatnot, but now we finally have our official ban list, and yeah, I've been really enjoying playing around with this deck. This is a very fun deck, just a very casual deck that plays around with a lot of meta-relevant cards. As you guys can see here, we're playing like the Halka Fibrax and Auroradon combos in here, as well as a lot of other really cool stuff, like in my original Morphtronic build with the Naturia Beast and whatnot. So I have always really loved Power Tool Dragon. He was like the first synchro that I ever really messed around with, and I really love his Ghost Rare form that I picked up back when I was in college, so I wanted to get this deck profile out to you guys as quickly as I could, and I know that a lot of you guys who are subscribed to my channel love Morphtronics, so if you guys have not subscribed, please do so. I would really appreciate it. And anyways, let's just get on into the deck profile. So obviously we're going to be starting off with 3 copies of Selfon. He is your best searcher and extender for the deck, basically. And so what he does is you roll a 6-sided die, and then depending on your roll, you excavate the top cards of your deck. This is always the kind of roll that you want to get you. So since I rolled a 6 right there, then you would excavate the top 6 cards of your deck, and then pick out a Morphtronic monster from among those cards, and special summon one of them, and if you don't get anything, which unfortunately happens, then you just don't get any effect. But we run a lot of extenders in this deck to make sure that you can keep continuing on in your plays. Then his counterpart, which is Morphtronic Smartphone, he is your best tuner in the deck, and he can special summon himself to the field just by banishing one Morphtronic from your graveyard. Also, you do the whole dice roll gimmick with the Smartphone, and then whatever you reveal, you add one Morphtronic card to your hand, so that also allows you to add some of the spells, and so we do run one of the Morphtronic spells in this deck. Then we're going on into Remoten. It is another great extender for the deck because you can banish a... this is while it is in attack mode. One other thing I should have mentioned is that all the Morphtronics have different effects depending on what position they're in, but the Remoten, the important one that I'm going to generally just go over what the important things are. With the Remoten, when it is sitting in attack position, you can banish a monster from your graveyard, one Morphtronic, and then add a monster with the same level. So you can banish a Selfon or a Smartphone from the graveyard in order to add another Smartphone, and then that just helps you to special summon another Smartphone to the field, and then you can keep extending your plays there, keep adding to the hand and whatnot, which is always what we want to be doing. That way we can get more resources onto the field. And then I want to keep saying like this is the next best tuner, because like all the tuners in this deck are so good. That's where I just think if Morphtronics got a little bit more support with the level 4 regular monsters, I think it would be really, really nice. What Scopin does is that when it's in attack mode, you can special summon one of your level 4 Morphtronic monsters from your hand. But this card is actually really, really nice because it also has a relevant defense effect. So when this card is sitting in defense, it is treated as a level 4, which is really nice that you can just kind of manipulate the level of this depending on what you need for your current synchro play needs. And it is really nice because when this card is summoned off of Halka Fibrax, that defense effect is not negated because it's not an activated effect, it's just a continuous effect. So that's what I really, really like about Scopin, is that you can summon this off of your Halka Fibrax and you can treat it as a level 4, so it's really cool. Also, this card, as well as a level 4 Morphtronic in your hand, either equals an automatic Halka Fibrax or an automatic Power Tool Dragon, depending on how simple you want to make your turn, or depending on what your current needs are. So it's really, really nice to have in this deck, and that's why you got to play it as 3 of. So then for our level 4 monsters, we want to go into at least 2 copies of Boomboxin and then 2 Slingin, which is pretty standard for these Morphtronic builds. I really like playing 2 Slingin just because it can tribute a Morphtronic in order to pop a card on the field just for a little bit of spot removal when needed. 2 copies of Radion. It's this card can actually get really, really like overpowered. If you can get 2 of them onto the field, their effects stack. So while this card is on the field, it increases the attack of your Morphtronic monsters by 800 attack points. So if you can actually get both of these on the field and then also juice it up with like an equip spell, which we do play some equips in the deck, then you can actually get this guy up to a lot of attack for just being a regular level 4 monster if you're just trying to close out the game in a really simple way. Then we have our Morphtronic Stapling, just another level 4 for the deck. Then we're going on into the next combo. Please, I hope you guys are not too angry with me that I'm playing with this. This is actually the first time that I've really experimented with Deskbot 003 and the 001, but this combo does work really nicely in here. Basically, if you get yourself on turn 1, that's like your best starter. But now if you play the Deskbots in here, that's actually going to help you to extend a little bit more because basically like with the Self-On, if you don't draw the Self-On on your first turn, then you're going to end up probably not having a great first turn, and that just can sort of hurt you. So I really like playing the Deskbots in here because it helps you to just have another option in the deck in case you don't draw into that Self-On or even your Scopin, which is another really good starter for the deck. So that's why I like playing the Deskbot engine in here. And the Deskbot 001 just synergizes really well with the rest of this deck. So then we're also going to be playing one copy of Mecha Phantom Beast Cult Wing. This card has gone up really high in popularity, and I've liked playing it in here. It just sucks that running these 5 cards in here kind of does hurt our Morphtronic numbers, so that's it can kind of make our Self-On and our Smartphone whiff every now and then. But getting on into the equip spells, we're playing 3 copies of Double Tool, Chain, and Drill, or whatever the C&D stands for. I'm really not sure what the C&D stands for. If anyone knows, I always thought that it stands for like Chainsaw and Drill. I don't know, that's just what I always called it. But if anyone knows, let me know down in the comments what the C&D stands for, because that's always bugged me. But this card can be equipped to Power Tool Dragon or a level 4 machine Morphtronic. So you do have to keep that in mind that you actually can't equip this onto your Radion because it's actually a Thunder monster. So just keep that in mind. So what Double Tool C&D does is that it increases the attack of your monster by 1,000 attack during your turn, and then also it negates the effects of your opponent's monster that it's battling during the battle phase, which is actually really, really sweet. So if your opponent has something that's like can't be destroyed by battle or something, this is just going to negate it, and then you can beat over whatever that is. And 1,000 attack boost on Power Tool Dragon is pretty respectable. You can get over quite a lot of like big stuff. And then on your turn, your monster that this is equipped to is the only monster that your opponent can attack, which is really, really cool because it can protect the rest of your board. So say you have like Herald of the Arclight or whatever is going to be on your field that you want to protect, even if you have like a face-up Morphtronic Self-On that you just couldn't like link away or something, just sitting on your field, it's not going to get like hit into. Your opponent's going to have to attack that monster first. Then our next equip spell to search is 3 copies of Morphtronic Repair Unit. This card is a great extender for your Morphtronics, and also it's searchable through your Power Tool Dragon if you just need to extend a little bit more. And lastly, this card is a Morphtronic card, so it can be searched by your smartphone. Then lastly, I'm just playing 2 copies of United We Stand. This card is just kind of nice to have in here in case, just for an extra power boost. You can get a lot of monsters onto your board, whether they're big Synchro or Link monsters, or if you're just, you have a bunch of like the Deskbots and Morphtronics on the field. You can get a lot on the field, and then you can make a really big boy with United We Stand, and then just push for game there. Then we're going on into 3 copies of Machine Duplication. So unfortunately, we're not playing Morphtronic Vacuumin in this deck, which I really like playing with this, but we do still have like the Self-On, the Remoten, and now the Deskbot 003 to actually search with the Machine Dupe, which is really nice. Then obviously 3 copies of Junk Box. This card is so good for the deck. So you got to be playing this. It's like another copy of Monster Reborn. And speaking of which, we have the 1 copy of Monster Reborn and the 1-1-for-1 because we are playing Self-On in the deck. So you got to be playing 1-for-1. But now let's get on into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we are playing, of course, the 2 copies of Power Tool Dragon. This is obviously like the goal for the deck. It is our boss monster. This is probably not the most optimal way to be like playing with like a Halka Fibrax engine and whatnot. I understand that, and I don't even think that this is better than my original Morphtronic deck with like going into Quasar Dragon and whatnot, but I really wanted to just focus on getting out Power Tool Dragon because obviously having the equipped spells in the deck and having to play some of these other engines is a little bit rough, but I do really like playing this deck. I've always loved Power Tool Dragon just because he was like such a great synchro monster that he could give himself a little bit of protection and he could search out really great equip spells from the deck, and that's why I just always really loved him. But basically, while this card is on the field, you can once per turn search out 3 equip spells from your deck, and then your opponent chooses one at random and adds it to the hand, which is actually really funny. Like, I used to always play this deck back in college, and it was so funny because I would always have my 3 copies of the double tool, and I would have my opponent pick one at random to add to my hand, and you know, it's going to be either way you're going to be getting it. So it's always really funny. As long as you don't draw one on your opening turn, it's always just really funny to watch your opponent get frustrated on that. And then you can just bust into monsters that have like battle protection and whatnot, which is always really cool. And then if this card would get destroyed, either by like battle, card effect, whatnot, you can just destroy one of the equipped spells on it instead, which is really nice. Then we're going on into 1 copy of Lifestream Dragon. This card really isn't that good, but it's just sort of in here for the fun of the deck because, again, this is just not very much a competitive deck, but it is a very fun deck to be playing. So you can, with Lifestream Dragon, you can actually make your life points 4,000 when it is summoned. That is an optional effect, but let's say you're down to your last like 1,000 life points and then you can summon this card out. It is really nice to just reset your life points to 4,000. Say you have your Power Tool Dragon out and you can get out a Morphtronic Smart Fawn, then you can just synchro them away to get into Lifestream Dragon, reset your life points, and then he has another effect that when he's on the field, he actually has protection from destruction by banishing equipped spells from your graveyard. So you're obviously already going to have at least 1 in the graveyard from having the Power Tool Dragon. And then if you've done a little bit of Morphtronic special summoning with like the repair unit and whatnot, you're probably going to have a healthy amount in the graveyard. So that's where Lifestream Dragon can really come in handy. Then we're playing obviously 1 copy of Trishula. This card is so good in here because with the Mecha Phantom Beast, the Auroradon, you can actually get out a lot of level 3s super easy. And then with whatever your other tuners, you have the Remoten and your Scopin, you can easily get this thing out because you can get into level 9s so much easier with this build actually compared to the Quasar build. Then we're going on into 1 copy of Borreload Savage. We are playing like a decent amount of Link monsters, so it is still nice to just be able to go into that every now and then. And if you're like, however you can get your Scopin into defense mode to be a level 4 and then get out another level 4 regular monster, you can easily just go into this like late game and it's actually pretty good. Then we're going on into TG Hyper Librarian. I will never drop this card as long as I'm playing a synchro build, and with how we can synchro climb in this deck, it's actually really nice because you can, I'll go a little bit further into the extra deck. We're playing the Martial Metal Marcher and 2 copies of Formula Synchron. So you can basically go Formula Synchron into Martial Metal Marcher, and Formula, when he's summoned, you draw a card. Martial Metal Marcher, you extend onto your field. And every time you summon, you're going to be drawing for TG Hyper Librarian. And then you can finish it off by going into a Herald of the Arclight, which is actually going to allow you to draw another card off of that Hyper Librarian. And then you have an Omni Negate on the board, and you just gain so much advantage. Then our last synchro monster is going to be the Naturia Beast. Obviously, we're playing a lot of Earth monsters in here, and if we can actually get this out alongside Power Tool Dragon, that is actually going to help us a lot to help protect him. So he's going to have his own protection from destruction, and then we'll have Naturia Beast to stop spells from, hindering any of our other, like the rest of our board getting destroyed. So finally, for the rest of the extra deck, we are playing 1 copy of Salamangreat Almirage. I used this to replace the Link Karibo because I thought that this was actually a little bit more helpful, especially for this build. So if our normal summon does get hit, like our Selphon or our Deskbot 003 gets hit, and our normal summon does not work, say our opponent hits us with an Ash Blossom, Effect Veiler, also with the Scopin if they get hit, then you can just link this away, and then hopefully if you have like a Junk Box or one of your other Monster Reborn-like effects, you can just bring that back and then link into maybe like your Halka Fibrax or whatever you need for the current time. Then we have, of course, the Halqifibrax, the one Mecha Phantom Beast Auroradon. I dropped Link Cross for this build. I thought Auroradon was just a little bit better. Synergizes really well with the machine monsters. And then finally we have Access Code Talker, because he actually is really simple, easy to go into, and you can just easily pound through your opponent's resources. You don't have a whole lot of Link monsters to go into for him, but overall, he is pretty nice to get out when you do. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for the deck. Hopefully you guys liked it. I've really been enjoying playing around with this deck and, you know, kind of dusting off the old Ghost Rare Power Tool Dragon. It's been a lot of fun playing with this. Hopefully you guys enjoy this, and if you guys can get this video up to like at least 50 likes, I will definitely consider putting out a, you know, like a recorded duel on Dueling Nexus to show you guys just sort of how this deck works. So please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and I will definitely do a recorded video on Dueling Nexus so you guys can see how this deck works. You know, against the Dual Nexus AI, which is becoming my greatest enemy in life. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Common Collector out.